saw a massive dump of what's known as the Epstein case file this weekend. This is almost unprecedented in American history, letting this information out there. There's going to be a lot of strong opinions on it. Good. That is the best part of living in a constitutional republic, that this stuff is not hidden. There's a lot of curiosity about this case over time, me included, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think the curiosity is kind of obvious. The questions are kind of obvious, both in general and in regards to Dan Bongino. I think people have some pretty pointed questions about the fact that you spent literally years making a name for yourself and making money for yourself, posturing and cosplaying as if you're some sort of like savior of women and girls, and you're gonna be the big alpha linebacker who takes down the Epstein class and all the elites. And then when you're actually given a shred of power, what do? You sign off on the cover up. You sign off on Epstein having killed himself, despite all of the new evidence that throws that whole story into question. And then you, after greenlighting the cover up, you tuck your little tail between your little legs and then you run back to your studio. And then you do segments like that. Apparently you've been pushed into enough of a corner, you're feeling the pressure enough that you have to say something. I mean, you can't not talk about it at all. I mean, there's people in your chat that are like, what the hell is going on? So you're like, yeah, you have questions, good, I love that about our democracy. And we've been so transparent. I mean, so much has been revealed except for like all the other criminals and half of the documents, but none of the videos have been revealed. But you should be thanking us for our cover up. I mean, our transparency. Why aren't you thanking me? And so that's Dan Bongino. And I'll have more to say about him. But first, I want to give you just a little bit more of the gaslighting.
It involves a disturbing set of circumstances, a lot of very wealthy people who interacted with them. There is a process because innocent people are entitled to a trial until they are proven guilty. However, given the interest in the case, I think on net, positives and negatives, it is a net positive that you're able to look at this and see this so we can you can see what happened behind the scenes. Now, do you understand though, however, given the Epstein Files Transparency Act, why this thing and the writing of it was done so poorly? Here's a New York Post article about what happened. California lawmakers Epstein bombshell outs 4 random guys with no connection to sick billionaire pedophile. That's why there was a back and forth. I feel like I owe you context on this, having lived through this thing and having dedicated hundreds, upwards of close to 1,000 people between FBI and DOJ into getting the information out there and fighting for that. It was like a big public spectacle. I mean, everybody remembers. But now do the emails make sense? You can see the emails yourself. People are forwarding me emails on what this redaction process looks like. This is why.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get like damn Ro Khanna, Thomas Massey. They really screwed this up by like making it legally, so we had to finally, against our will, release the documents, which I think is like a net positive. I guess it's good that you can see a little bit of the documents or whatever, but like, they revealed things. It was so irresponsible. I mean, hypothetically, what you could have done is you guys could have done your goddamn job. You could have investigated it. You could have released the documents. You could have gone through with the year that you had a responsible process of redacting the right people and not the wrong people, which you guys screwed up well over a month into violating the law by still not releasing the documents. You still have not released all of the documents, but yeah, we should all really be mad at Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey coming out of the most clownish and buffoonish and transparent cover up in American government history. Look at Dan Bongino carrying water for the pedophile class, saying you should be mad at Ro Khanna after all we found out. That's what Dan Bongino wants. And he doesn't just want that. He also wants cred. Because I lived through this. You didn't live through this. You participated in the cover up. You weren't just living, breathing, eating cereal. You were signing off on it. You were doing interviews. Remember the big spectacle, the big fight I had to reveal everything? No. I don't actually, and I do this show every goddamn day, 90 minutes a day. If it had happened, I think I would have seen it. I remember you sweating bullets next to Kash Patel saying, yeah, no, Epstein totally just killed himself and the camera just happened to break. And don't worry about the orange thing that walked into the frame a little bit. And the missing footage is totally cool and it's all fine. Yeah. Was that the spectacle that you were talking about? Was that you cowardly retreating from DC to go do your podcast again so that you're not in a position to actually do anything about this and you can maybe provide a little bit of distance between yourself and the ongoing cover up that you greenlit? Is that the spectacle? You've become a bit of a spectacle, Dan Bongino. But anyway, now he just gets to sit back and imply that they did a great thing. Yaz, I don't think he deserves any credit. What do you make of this?
No, he deserves zero credit. He said the thing before he joined the administration, saying he wanted to release the files, right? That was the thing that everybody was saying, though, right? So many people on the left, on the right, and the center were saying, release the Epstein files. If you have nothing to hide, then release the files. He wants credit for that, right? Sure, give us credit for that too, then, right? But then he actually got into government by sucking up to Donald Trump. However, he got to the head of the FBI, and then he did nothing. And you said it earlier, whenever they act excited about people asking questions about things that they're not allowed to talk about or things that they can't talk about, questions that they can't answer, all because they want to talk about how transparent they are and they want to talk about the sanctity and the beauty of democracy. It is gaslighting in and of itself. I don't know if that was what you were referring to when you said gaslighting, but that is what it is. They're pretending that they're a part of this institution, that they're not actively working against that very institution, and they're saying, no, this is good. Like, we love being transparent with you, while they're actively concealing so much information, and they're doing it publicly, and they're telling you we're not concealing it. And the people who have decided to not conceal that information, the people who fought to unconceal that information, they're your real enemies. So I don't understand how people who still support Trump in this administration and all of these people who are protecting or excusing the contents that we have so far of what's in the Epstein files, I really don't know how they rationalize all these things in their head. I don't understand how they can see how opposed Trump was. Well, first of all, how much he wanted to release the files, and then see how opposed he was to releasing the files, and then see all the things that have come out in the files and say, I still support this man. I still decide that this is okay. But the thing is, the Trump administration really, it does function very much like a cult. So at all costs, they will say, hey, I'm a part of this cult and I have to defend the leader regardless of what it is, even if that means excusing the most heinous behavior in all of humanity, really, right? Like, that is what we're talking about. We're talking about one of the worst things that someone can do to another person, let alone to a child. And they're saying, you know what? I don't know how to break out of this way of thinking, so I need to just keep going full force until Trump condemns everything. Then I'm gonna keep supporting that, and it really has shown a light that I wish was never had to be shown on this country and the people in it. Not just this country; it extends out to other major leaders across the globe. But something else, one quick thing, whenever you have a cult, right? There's the people who, it's kind of hard because, everybody wants to say, oh, the cult is still with him. The cult is still with him. That's how it works, right? They're with him until they're not. And then, and so the cult gets smaller. So I think that's something that we can look forward to, is maybe the cult is getting smaller than what it was, but the people who are still in it they're still going to be very, very rapidly supportive of Trump.
Yeah. And it's whether it's just, maybe Bongino just really likes Trump and he's like, okay, well then pedophiles can prey on girls because attacking that would hurt Trump and I prefer Trump to justice or whatever. Or maybe it is just what I would say, which is that he realizes that if he were to actually have one goddamn principle in his body, his audience would abandon him. And given the choice between taking down pedophiles, elite billionaire pedophiles, and having people watch his goddamn stupid little show, he chooses a show. Or he wants people to buy the book that he wrote. None of those words mean what they would seem to mean. I want to feel like I sold books. So I guess pedophiles can sexually assault girls all over the globe. That's the decision that he appears to be making. It's grotesque, and it's, again, exactly out of QAnon, that there is this apparatus protecting the elites. He is a willful, knowing member. Now, if he had never gone the administration, and we'll move on in a second, he still would have done this, and that would have been bad. But this is worse because he went in, he saw the files. He saw files we haven't seen. He saw videos we haven't seen. He knows more than we do. And he still decided to do that. He's still choosing to do that. And that is truly grotesque.